Welcome everyone, this is Matteo Casu from Semantic Partners. Today I would like to walk you through a quick demonstration and honest review of Talk to Your Graph, a feature of GraphDB, the RDF database by Ontotext, which is one of our vendor partners. Talk to Your Graph lets you query a knowledge graph using natural language. We will use a demo to show its strengths or weaknesses, and in the process we will explain how to use it. In fact, Talk to Your Graph is built on top of some features of GraphDB, like vector search, that you can utilize to build other things as well. And Talk to Your Graph is an example of agentic RAG. So if you'd like some practical introduction to RAG over semantic knowledge graphs, you can check out our Semantic Partners blog at semanticpartners.com/blog, in particular on the articles A Triple Store RAG Retriever and Matching Skills and Candidates. These articles are related to the tech we'll discuss today. Another related blog is SFIA 9 in RDF, because we will use the SFIA dataset for this demo. Coming to the setup, I'll be running GraphDB version 10.8, the free version, from my laptop, so this is a kind of experiment that everyone can do. The only third-party prerequisite is that at the moment, Talk to Your Graph uses OpenAI, so you will need a subscription to the OpenAI's APIs. Let's talk for a minute about the example data. SFIA is a competency framework that lets you model skills for the digital sector. It contains a collection of general skills, such as software development, business analysis, and so on, and levels of proficiency and responsibility for those skills. Recently, in collaboration with the SFIA Foundation, we published a conversion script for the SFIA dataset, and you can find details about this on our blog already mentioned, SFIA 9 in RDF, and also in the associated GitHub repository page, where you can find the script itself together with an explanation and with the model that we designed and used. As for the data, which is the output of this process, we can see here an example of the RDF representation of software development as an example. And let me pull it up. As you can see, it has a verbal description, and it's also connected to the skill levels that are available for this particular skill. In this case, 3 to 6. In the general case in SFIA, skill levels go from 1 to 7. And they also have descriptions of their own, which are going to be used during our demo in the vector search for the RAG. We also have some anonymized resumes, again as an RDF file, and notice that these are not connected to the skills listed in SFIA. Part of our demo will consist actually in finding links between people and skills. Okay, now switching to the GraphDB interface, we have a couple of prerequisites to meet. The first one is to import the two turtle files that we have seen, the SFIA dataset itself and the resumes files, into a repository called the SFIA in the usual manner. I've already done it. And then if we go to Explore and Similarity, I've already done it here again, but we should create a vector index for our dataset. It's extremely simple with the Similarity plugin. If we were to create a new index, we would go here, just give it a name and just leave the default query as it is. What it is going to do is that it's going to create a vector index for each literal of every node, so that we can retrieve relevant node given a certain keyword, for example, or a certain description. Now, passing back to the creation of the agent, we go to Lab, Talk to Your Graph, and I have already a SFIA agent. If you were to create a new one, it would be just the same workflow. So we click on the settings and we are into this UI, which is very simple. Now, with this configuration, we are going to define an agent with tools, which is a common pattern in Gen AI applications. The agent will use the LLM, in our case GPT, to pick the hopefully best combination of some of the tools that are available here to get all the information it needs to answer a given question by the user. And then it will package a final response using, again, the LLM provided. So let's see the available tools. The first one is Text to Sparkle, and it uses the LLM to generate Sparkle queries to answer our questions. And to do it, it needs the ontology of the RDF data in the repository, so the schema of the data set itself. To give the ontology, we can either provide the named graph where the ontology is in, or in this case, because the ontology is mixed with the instance data in the original turtle files, I can define a construct query to pull out the ontology. And by the way, to check what ontology is pulled up, which will be passed to the agent and consequently to the LLM, I can use this explain settings button, which is very useful to see the other settings which are already there, but also to double check if my ontology is in the proper shape. This one is good. It's also simple and short enough, so it should be good to be sent to the agent and to the LLM. The other type of tool that I'm going to use for this demo is the similarity search. And similarity is a tool which will use the vector index we just defined to search for relevant nodes and get the triples describing them. And in this way, doing RAG effectively over the RDF data. So if I pull up the configuration, again, it's very simple. It's just indicating what index name I should be using. In this case, it's the only one, the one that we created before. And then I'm going to leave the other properties as they are by default. As a model, I'm going to use GPT-4o Mini. Depending on your subscription, you can use anything that is available. I am setting the temperature very low to increase the deterministic behavior of the output, and I'm also giving the LLM some basic additional instructions, such as never use your general knowledge, only use the RDF dataset provided, and I'm telling the LLM that the labels are provided either by RDFS labels, cospref labels, cost notation, or FOF name. So just a little bit of attuning to your specific use case. So the agent was already defined, so I didn't save it, but you can create it in the same way. And then I'm going to start my demo. And first I want to ask something very simple. List 10 skills together with their codes and labels. And my expectation here is for the agent to pick the Text to Sparkle tool to generate a Sparkle query to respond to this question, because it's a direct question over the graph. And here is the response. I get my 10 codes and labels, which seem reasonable. I also have an explain response button, which gives me a little bit of explainability, which is very important with such a chatbot tool, because we want to know what's happening under the hood. So we can see that the Sparkle tool was called, was effectively used, and the query is good. I'm happy because it's exactly what one would write himself for this kind of query. Select skill, code, and label, where skill is a skill, skill has notation code, and skill has label, the label and limit 10. So this is precisely what we were expecting. Now I want to ask something else, which is give me some skills related to software development. Now, related here is not a property in the database. So what I have in mind is that I expect the agent to pick the similarity tool this time to find all the nodes that are somewhat semantically related to the concept of software development. Now, this time it failed, and let's see why it failed. Okay, it tried a couple of things. It tried to call the Sparkle tool once, And the query is perfectly legal, but the problem, formally speaking, but the problem is that it tried to create to append software development to the categories namespace, which is something that doesn't quite make sense because it's not a piece of data that exists as in that pattern in the data set, and so it failed. And then the agent tried something else, again the Sparkle tool, and this time it tried to find something with the exact label software development, which probably doesn't exist, but also it's not exactly what I wanted anyway, because I wanted not only software development per se, but anything related to software development. It tried with getting category software development, but that's not a category. So it is trying various Sparkle queries, which are formally correct, but they don't correspond to what's in the data. A little bit of disappointment there, because the agent would have succeeded had it picked the similarity tool. So why not try to force it to use it? And we can do it very easily by saying, okay, try again, but use the similarity search instead, because I know that it's going to work. So let's wait for a moment, and yep, we get something way better this time. We do get a list of skills. They seem to be related to software development. We have software design, software development itself, and then software configuration, systems and software lifecycle engineering, etc. And we also get a nice formatted piece of text with their descriptions and so on. And if we ask to explain the response, we can see that, this is still a query, but this is a similarity query in the sense that it's using the internal vector search index, and it's looking up for anything close in the vector space to software development. So this is exactly what I wanted it to do. So I'm quite happy now with where we got to. And now, from now on, I'm gonna specify to use the similarity tool. I could just deactivate the Sparkle tool from the interface here, but I just decide to go on a case-by-case basis. And as the next one, I'm going to ask to pull up Matt Chisel's resume, which is the one that we've seen before in the file. That is just my own summarized resume under disguise. And this is just a step-by-step because I wanted to pull up the resume, and then I will ask consequently to tell me what skills are close to it. So we get the resume here. Let's try to ask, okay, what SFIA skills do you think are relevant to this resume? And hopefully we should get back some relevant skills related to software development, maybe software analysis or data engineering, anything around that. Okay, we got a couple, DENG, which is data engineering, and tech, which is a specialist advice. Okay, this is an interesting one because as we know, we work in consultancy, so this is another important, not necessarily only tech-related kind of skill. So it's important to have it there. Now, my next step would be the following. Considering these skills and their skill levels available, what skill levels can you assess in Matt's resume? In other words, I want to, now that we know that these skills are relevant, I want to know at what level this resume is placed in comparison to these, with respect to these two skills. So for data engineering, the skills available are 2 to 6, and for specialist advice are 4 to 6. And it says, given Matthias' extensive experience in data engineering, blah, 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 he couldn't be at least at the 4 or 5 and then 5 or 6 for tech. Okay, I'm going to ask to give me a very short sort of executive summary. So in summary, what are the highest skill levels you would safely classify this resume under? In other words, I want the maximum level, but with some confidence, with some safety. I don't want it to say that I'm too advanced on something, and at the same time not too low, of course, if there is a witness of otherwise. Okay, based on Matthias' resume and his extensive experience, oh, thank you for that. The highest skill levels I would safely classify are data engineering level 5 and specialist advice level 5. Now, of course, this has to be taken with a pinch of salt, but I'm happy to say that, I mean, they kind of make sense for those two specific skills. So now that we got here, I'm fairly happy because I was able to ask for structured queries as well as sort of unstructured queries based on vector search. So in conclusion, as we have seen, Talk to Your Graph is very easy to configure with no code involved. Some improvements could be made, for example, to how the agent picks the tools and picks the right tools or not. And the level of sophistication you can get with it is not quite the same that you would get by implementing a RAG pipeline or a RAG agent using a programming framework. So bear this in mind. However, it is not meant to be a production tool. It is meant to be a tool to help tech evangelists, developers, technical product managers to define a showcase or a demo with minimal effort, and this requirement is met. It can also be good for training purposes, like hopefully we showed today. And so, if our examples tease your curiosity towards real applications, just come and talk to us. Thank you.